Attention all football fans. If you can't see your team play, come and dine with us and watch it live at Boardman, Canfield, or Cortland. Or staying at home, we'll deliver right to your door. That's Coca's Pizza. We serve it hot.
If you're watching me, you're watching a recorded version of this program because for some reason Facebook is having some technical issues, so you won't be able to watch me live. But hey, guess what? Nothing's going to change between now and the time you see this. Not much. We're where we are. We're 57 days. Is it 57 or 4? No, pardon me. We're 47 days from Election Day, and it's getting closer. It's getting closer. But one thing I'll be talking about today, a couple of things. The president's town hall the other night on ABC News. And also there is another town hall tonight on CNN, and that is Joe Biden with Anderson Cooper. So you can check that out and get both sides of it. And for the people who've been trying to play Biden as being less than edgy as far as his cognitive state, you'll have a chance to check him out in real time. I don't think the president did as well as he hoped to, but then again, he got to actually talk to people who didn't agree with him. It wasn't a Trump rally the other night with George Stephanopoulos, and we'll take a look at some footage from that. But first, I want to talk about something else, because we are still in the middle of this pandemic, COVID-19, and the president keeps teasing the fact that he thinks there's going to be a vaccine available as soon as, well, just before Election Day. How convenient. Well, doctors are disagreeing with him, including a lot of people in his own administration. This is a pretty good report by Ann Thompson of NBC News. This was on NBC Nightly News last night, and it kind of breaks it down, the complexities of this. It may not be as soon as the president would like.
The mass vaccination program will begin 24 hours after FDA approval of a vaccine, and Operation Warp Speed expects there will be more than one. The CDC and Department of Defense will work together to dispense the vaccines. They will be free and distributed in 3 phases, with the first vaccines going to priority populations like health workers and those at greatest risk for severe illness.
It can be a very important tool to help us fight the COVID pandemic, but only if we use it right.
Complicating the issues, some vaccines are expected to be given in 2 doses, 3 to 4 weeks apart, and must come from the same manufacturer. But today, news that it will be a while.
If we had a vaccine, say, released today, that it's going to take us probably in the order of 9 months, 6 to 9 months to get the American public vaccinated.
In other words, next summer.
How difficult will it be to vaccinate the entire country?
There are an enormous number of hurdles to vaccination. One of them is fundamentally trust. And in recent weeks, we've seen an undermining of trust in the FDA and the CDC, and that's going to make it harder to protect us.
Polls show Americans are worried about politics rushing vaccine development. 52% of adults don't trust President Trump's comments about vaccines. Today at a Senate hearing, the nation's top health officials insisted science is not being politicized, even though the CDC has told governors to prepare to distribute vaccines 2 days before the presidential election.
There were no emails, no meetings, no phone calls, no backroom chats connected with your choosing that particular date.
Absolutely not.
Meanwhile, progress for a potential treatment. Eli Lilly saying its drug derived from the antibody of one of the first American COVID patients dramatically decreased hospitalization risk in patients with mild to moderate cases. The results have not been independently reviewed. And as U.S. COVID deaths near the 200,000 mark, advice from the CDC.
This face mask is more guaranteed to protect me against COVID than when I take a COVID vaccine.
Another reminder that today's best defense is one of the simplest. Ann Thompson, NBC News, New York.
And welcome back. There you go. That should fill you in a little bit. So you see there is a discrepancy between what the president is saying and what the head of the CDC is saying, for example, and a lot of other doctors who are involved in the rollout of this vaccine. And I guess I'll ask if you'd like to join us at 330-595-1600. Will you be lining up for a COVID-19 vaccine, or do you want to see how things work out first? And do you think that this is being politicized? A lot of the experts are saying this might not be out there until January or February, but the president would have you believe that this is going to come just in time for Election Day. And I certainly won't be lining up for it. But want to hear what you have to say at 330-595-1600. Let's go a little further, though. There is more to this story than meets the eye. The president pushed back against his CDC director and basically threw him under the bus. But I'm trusting the CDC director because he's the doctor and he's the expert. And if he says it's not going to be ready, it's not going to be ready. But of course, the president lives in his own reality.
Late tonight, contradicting his CDC director on that 6 to 9 month timeline to get Americans vaccinated.
I think he made a mistake when he said that. It's just incorrect information. When he said it, I believe he was confused. I'm just telling you, we're ready to go.
The president suggesting vaccinations could start as early as next month, though his own advisors are not nearly as optimistic, as he faces new fallout from his ABC town hall overnight when uncommitted voters asked him about his fight against the virus.
I didn't downplay it. I actually, in many ways, I upplayed it in terms of action.
That's after the president himself acknowledged downplaying the danger.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
And again predicted it could go away on its own.
It is going to disappear. It's going to disappear. I still say we don't take it. It would go away without the vaccine, George. But it's going to go away a lot faster with it.
Go away without the vaccine?
Sure, over a period of time. Sure, with time it goes
and many
away.
Deaths.
And you'll develop herd, like a herd mentality. It's going to be herd developed, and that's going to happen.
The president seemed to be referring to herd immunity, which is when a virus stops spreading widely because enough people have become immune. For COVID-19, scientists estimate without a vaccine, 70% of Americans, or more than 200 million people, would need to catch COVID and recover to create herd immunity. That's way more than the 6.5 million believed to have been infected so far.
Herd immunity has never been a strategy here at the White House.
The White House insists its priority is a vaccine.
I trust vaccines, I trust scientists, but I don't trust Donald Trump. And at this moment, the American people can't either.
Joe Biden today blasting the president's leadership.
He made clear that he still doesn't have a plan to bring us out of this crisis. He even said, and I quote, "A lot of people think that masks are not good, undercutting the easiest, most effective means we have for reducing the spread of this disease."
And while President Trump's again insisting he'll roll out his alternative to the Affordable Care Act soon,
I have it already, and it's a much better plan for you.
Today, 3 top health officials testified they're not aware of such a plan, despite the president promising one for more than a year.
We'll be announcing that in about 2 months, maybe less. We're signing a health care plan within 2 weeks. I'll be signing it sometime very soon.
The president added tonight he thinks there are a lot of problems with face masks. That's even after his CDC director today called them the most powerful public health tool we have. And the White House is confirming another staffer here has tested positive for COVID, but they say the person was not in contact with the president. Lester.
And that was Haley Jackson from NBC Nightly News last night. So it appears that the president is at odds, as usual, with science. Let's remember, this is the guy that told us we'd be back in the pews by Easter. This guy's told us a lot of things that ultimately turned out not to be true. And I think he's playing politics again. I think that he's behind in the polls. He would have you believe he's not concerned about that, but he is behind in the polls and he is playing catch up, and he needs all the positive spin he can get to put the word out there that, hey, I'm still here and I'm still relevant. So I think that's what's going on with the president when it comes to when he's talking about a miracle being around the corner, and we've turned the bend. We really haven't. We're still losing about 1,000 people a day. We are, if we haven't hit it already, we are swiftly approaching a death rate of 200,000 people. And by the way, worldwide, it's over 900,000 people. Almost 1 million people have died of COVID-19. And yet you've still got people out there in this country, this supposedly educated country, who are still trying to say this whole thing is a hoax. And that's why I've kind of lost faith in a whole lot of my fellow Americans. It's just hard to believe. How many people have to die for you to believe this? And as far as it being a something to bring down Trump, I've said it before and I'll say it again. So that means the whole world is in on this hoax, right? That all these people dying in India, which, by the way, India just reached a grim milestone of 5 million people being infected. And they may even surpass us in infection soon. But we're still #1 in death. So, you know, it just makes you wonder. The greatest country on the face of the earth, and here we are, lesser countries who did have strong leadership from the top, who did take it seriously, who did enforce social distancing all throughout their borders. One problem here is that we do have states and states' rights, and every state can kind of make their own call as to how stringent the stay-at-home orders were or the other precautions that you have to take. Some states were not going to push you to wear a mask, that kind of thing. Well, look what we have for our trouble. Look at the explosions. You know, Trump keeps talking about how this is a red state problem, when in fact, this is a blue state problem, when in fact, this infection is everywhere in the United States and even our territories. But by the way, that's what they mean when they say pandemic. This is a worldwide problem. And I'm telling you, how stupid do you have to be to believe this is just a hoax to make Trump look bad? The whole world is in on this. The whole world can't agree on pizza toppings. I don't think they could pull this off. But just a little common sense there for you. But let's take a look at something else. This was from the town hall the other night, George Stephanopoulos on ABC, and the president was asked a question by one of the audience members. These were people that supposedly were undecided, or in a couple of cases, they did vote for Hillary last time, but they hadn't made up their mind. There were some people who voted for the president last time as well. But this particular question, which he never really answers, was about race relations.
Bart, who's from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. Yeah. She's right here. She has a question about that. You voted for Hillary Clinton last time, I believe.
All right. I just wanted to say I made a mistake there. This was another question. This was a question regarding masking, which I think is a very good question. And yeah, you can rewind that. And okay. Yeah. And the thing is, okay, so we're in the middle of a pandemic. All the experts out there saying that masking, if you heard the director of the CDC just a few minutes ago, you should wear a mask. A mask might even be better than a vaccine in some cases. You're protecting me, I'm protecting you. And yet the president of the United States, when asked about masking, well, check out what he had to say to this lady.
You mentioned masks. We had Julie Bart, who's from Gibsonia, Pennsylvania. Yeah. She's right here. She has a question about that. You voted for Hillary Clinton last time, I believe.
Yes, I did. The wearing of masks has proven to lessen the spread of COVID. Why don't you support a mandate for national mask wearing? And why don't you wear a mask more often?
Well, I do wear them when I have to and when I'm in hospitals and other locations. But I will say this. They said at the Democrat convention they're going to do a national mandate. They never did it because they've checked out and they didn't do it. And a good question is you ask, like Joe Biden, they said, we're going to do a national mandate on masks.
He's called on all governors to have them. It is a state responsibility.
No, but he didn't do it. I mean, he never did it. Now, there is, by the way, a lot of people don't want to wear masks. There are a lot of people think the masks are not good. And there are a lot of people that, as an example,
Who are those people?
Well, I'll tell you who those people are. Waiters, they come over and they serve you, and they have a mask. And I saw it the other day where they were serving me. And they're playing with a mask. I'm not blaming them. I'm just saying what happens. They're playing with a mask, so the mask is over, and they're touching it, and then they're touching the plate. That can't be good. There are a lot of people. If you look at Dr. Fauci's original statement, you look at a lot of people, CDC, you look at a lot of people's original statement, they said very strongly, George, don't wear masks. Then all of a sudden they went to wear masks. The concept of a mask is good, but it also does, you're constantly touching it, you're touching your face, you're touching plates. There are people that don't think masks are good.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get...
Hey, sorry.
All good.
Okay. So there you have it. So he's questioning whether or not the mask even work. As I said, this is why we have a problem in this country. There's no united front on this. You have all these experts saying one thing, and then you'll have Trump kind of play it by ear, or even when he said a lot of people don't like masks. You know what? If there was a poison gas attack, a lot of people probably don't like gas masks either, but I bet you they put that on to save their life. We really have become a nation of babies, if you ask me. If you look at the sacrifices made by the World War II generation, where they had to ration flour and sugar and gas, and you couldn't buy a new car, and there were all kinds of things you couldn't get. But here, the only thing we're asking you to do is to wear a mask for your safety and the safety of your neighbors. And yet that's turned into a big issue for a lot of people. Somehow they're taking your rights away and all this. And these people who say they just want to get back to their lives. I'm sorry, grow up. There is a deadly virus out there. You may not be getting back to life as you know it anytime soon, if ever. Some things may permanently be changed. Maybe some people who are working from home will always work from home in the future. There'll be no need to go to the office. Maybe restaurants will always be a different experience than you remember in the future, until there is a vaccine. Even better, a cure. But nobody's talking about cures. In fact, you don't even hear Trump talking about his precious hydroxychloroquine anymore, because that's obviously as bogus as all the experts says. Wrong again, Mr. Trump. Then let's remember a few weeks ago when they trotted out these people in lab coats who were saying that hydroxychloroquine was not only a remedy, it was a cure. Well, how's that going? Last time I checked, the death rates are still increasing all over the world, and this great cure was never that. But, of course, the president's supporters, that town hall that got a little rough, well, they're saying that he was ambushed. At least that's what Laura Ingraham had to say. And by the way, as she plays these clips from the town hall, listen to these questions. These are reasonable questions. Sorry, Laura, it wasn't ever supposed to be a Sean Hannity interview, because those are always softballs. These were hard questions from real people of their president.
Moments ago, it was hosted by ABC News and former Clintonite George Stephanopoulos, but the DNC may as well have put the whole thing on.
You should know that some of these people voted for you last time around. Some voted for Hillary Clinton. Why did you throw vulnerable people like me under the bus?
Why don't you support a mandate?
All right, we're back. All the gremlins are out today. Just multiple problems here, folks, but we'll try to get that up later. Don't know what happened. Should be an easy play. Apparently, there are some issues with Facebook today, so bear with us. We'll try to give you a good show anyway. But anyway, this is not a real ad. Hopefully this plays. Last Friday, Samuel L. Jackson sat in for Jimmy Kimmel on the Jimmy Kimmel Show. And is that up and ready? Okay. 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 All right, because I can't tell when you're doing that.
Oh, I'll point at you.
Okay.
I'll give you the cue.
Okay, he's setting that up. Okay, and we are live here, folks. But I'm just, as I said, I'm a little bit perturbed. It's not only that we don't have a consistent message from the top, but now if you look around, we're just here in little Youngstown, Ohio, and you already see these people who are pretending that everything is back to normal and they can just do what they want to do. And I was in a store the other day and 3 people came in behind me without masks on. It's not over. Okay. And I'm really, personally, I'm trying to be cool about this, but I'm really getting a little pissed off about it because are we that stupid? Are we that stupid that, as I said, we're leading the world in this. We're the same country that put a man on the moon. We're the same country that's cured various diseases, that has fed the hungry around the world, that has fought wars and brought peace where there was no peace. Yet we ourselves can't be bothered to put on a mask to make a quick trip into the grocery store. We want to whine about masking and social distancing. That's why I bet you, vaccine or no vaccine, this time next year, COVID-19 will still be an issue, and we'll have no one to blame but ourselves because we can't take simple steps to prevent the spread of this disease. And I think it's a national disgrace. But of course, the biggest national disgrace is a guy named Donald Trump, who is going on about his business, campaigning. By the way, I see the governor, Mike DeWine, flipped. We've got rules limiting the size of groups. Well, basically, DeWine just let Trump have his way. So he's got an upcoming event here in Ohio where he'll be able to have all the Trumpies in the audience, and most of them will not be wearing masks. There will be no social distancing, and then they'll go back into the community and spread whatever they pick up there. And this is coming from the President of the United States. By the way, and this is also coming from a wimpy governor who won't even push back because that president is a member of his party. I can kind of understand when it happened in Nevada, where you have a Democratic governor who told the president that they have rules in that state limiting assemblies to 50 people or less, yet the president did 2 rallies, one indoors, in Nevada, like basically, hey, screw you, governor, here we come, it's the Trump show. Well, that's why I decided to run this. It's not a real ad, but this is from the Jimmy Kimmel show. And this is basically kind of combining those pharmaceutical ads with a Trump ad.
The fact of the matter is, Donald Trump is dangerous for this country. In fact, his campaign ads even come with disclaimers now.
It's time to vote for a proven leader. It's time to usher in a new era of American pride. It's time to re-elect Donald J. Trump. Voting for Donald Trump may not be right for everyone. Common side effects include racism, sexism, nepotism, corruption, collusion, xenophobia, homophobia, Islamophobia, anti-Semitism, hypocrisy, delusion, gullibility, paranoia, fascism, greed, rage, hate, fear, and mullets. Voting for Donald Trump may cause you to catch the coronavirus at a monster truck rally and die. If you experience pain or discomfort as a result of being tear-gassed, beaten, or shot by white supremacist vigilantes, stop voting for Donald Trump immediately and seek medical attention. Disorientation and dizziness could be a sign that you just drank bleach. Other possible side effects include destruction of the economy, the Constitution, the ecosystem, the idea of truth, the post office, and basic human decency. Before voting for Donald Trump, ask your doctor if you're insane, because you probably are. This November, re-elect President Donald J. Trump, because he alone can keep America great. I'm just kidding. He's a idiot.
And welcome back. I don't know, that would be a good ad. Maybe Biden should go in that direction. But as I said, I see we are back streaming, and thanks if you're watching. If you didn't lose patience, I'll say, let's see what happened here. Oh, there it is. Tim says, glad you're on. The Democrat convention. What about the Republic convention? Yeah, I know. Like I said, I refuse to buy into that. It will always be the Democratic Party. I'm not going to go into their Frank Luntz talking points where they decide, you know, because as I've said before, they're, you know, I give them credit. They're good communicators. And when you say the Democratic Party, that makes it, hey, this is something for everybody, where they want to call it the Democrat Party. So then they're not insulting some good thing. They're insulting some bad thing. They're insulting the Democrat Party, which is not good for everybody because it may bring in some socialistic programs, you know, like Social Security and Medicare, Medicaid, all those terrible things that even some of these hypocrites who criticize socialism benefit from. But I digress. Let's take let's go back. A couple of more comments. It says, Tim says, Facebook has been weird for 2 or 3 days. I'll say, Tim, especially weird today. And let's see. Randy says, hi, Mo. Hello, Randy. And Julie says, you must have ticked off Trump. You just popped up on Facebook. Well, as long as I'm glad I'm popping up somewhere. But, you know, the president made a lot of claims the other night at his town hall with George Stephanopoulos. And CNN has this remarkable guy, and I can't believe I didn't get his name, but maybe this is from Now This. They may mention his name in the credits. But this guy, he just catches every lie, and he can recite them at light speed. So take a look at a fact check of the president's factless town hall.
This was just a fire hose of lying, again, from the president. He said again, Democrats won't protect people with pre-existing conditions. That is nonsense. As a voter told him, Democrats created those protections. He insisted he didn't praise China on the virus. He did so repeatedly. We know that. He claimed that nobody knew at the time he was praising China that seniors were especially susceptible to the virus. That was one of the first things we learned out of China and out of Italy and out of the U.S. He claimed that Biden said in March that the pandemic was, quote, totally over-exaggerated. I can find no evidence that Biden ever said that. He said that Winston Churchill was kind of like him, playing down stuff because he went on rooftops in London during the Nazi bombing and told people everything's going to be good. Churchill did not speak from the rooftops and did not say everything's going to be good. He warned of suffering and danger. Trump said that he fired James Mattis. Mattis resigned. He said that protesters took over 20% of Seattle. It was a 6-block area, nowhere close to 20%. He took credit again for sending in the National Guard in Minneapolis, saying that this happened after a week and a half of violence there. It was not even close to a week and a half. It was days, and the Democratic governor is the one who activated the Guard. He said he essentially repealed Obamacare by getting rid of the individual mandate. Not even close to true. The Medicaid expansion, pre-existing conditions protections, other stuff remains. He said the cupboards were empty of ventilators. His administration admits he inherited about 16,000 from Obama. He did his usual false boast about so-called bans on travel from China and Europe. They were not complete bans. He said stocks are owned by, quote, everybody. Just about half of Americans own stocks. He repeated his nonsense about testing causing cases. Testing merely reveals and helps fight cases. He said that Biden has agreed to a Bernie Sanders style socialized healthcare. He fought Sanders on that issue. He has very much not agreed to a Sanders style plan.
Let's talk about what he said about crime.
If you're going to stop crime, we have to give the respect back to the police that they deserve. They've done a fantastic job in so many locations, but then bad things happen. Look at New York. New York was a very safe city. Rudy Giuliani did a fantastic job. The city was safe, and then all of a sudden we have a mayor who starts cutting the police force, and crime is up 100%, 150%. I saw one form of crime up 300%.
What are the facts, Daniel?
So there have been spikes in certain kinds of crime in New York City this year, particularly shootings, where there's been a more than 100% increase. Not a 300% increase, but substantial. The thing to remember, though, is that crime has fallen hugely since even Giuliani's final year. So Giuliani presided over a decrease. Then there's been a subsequent big decrease. So last year in 2019, there were fewer than half the murders under Bill de Blasio than there were in the last year of Giuliani. So yes, this year has been an increase, but the city is still way safer than it was in Giuliani's last year in 2001.
Well, there you go. Do you need a drink of water?
Yeah, I think I'm like spitting on my camera here, so I apologize to the viewers.
Yeah, this guy, and I will get his name for you, but he is amazing if you ever watch him with Anderson Cooper. Sometimes he left Anderson Cooper with his jaw dropping, the way he rattled off the stuff so fast. But it's easily verifiable that a lot of stuff the president, he'll just say stuff. And I don't want to insult all his supporters, but I gotta wonder, do you always believe everything he says, or do you take it with a grain of salt? Do you just say, well, at least he's not a socialist? I'm trying to understand how you can listen to this man distort the truth time and time again, and you just kind of shrug it off. A lot of that stuff that he said at the town hall is just totally untrue. But here's the other thing I don't like about this president, and we've talked about it before, how he's the president of the United States. That means all 50 states. Yet this president seems to be determined to only represent the states that support him. That is the red states. If you're a blue state, get in line. Or remember when he said that the governor of Michigan wasn't appreciative enough and that kind of thing? That's not how the job works, Mr. President. When you raise your right hand, you're raising your right hand to take care of all 50 states, regardless of their party affiliation or their dominant voting record. And that's not what we've gotten out of this guy. What we've gotten out of this man is pettiness. And if you're not on his team, well, screw you. But this was the president talking about, this is some more of his mumbo jumbo, and this is not actually factual either, where he's talking about the disease rates in blue states versus red states.
Tremendous death rates. If you take the blue states out, we're at a level that I don't think anybody in the world would be at. We're really at a very low level, but some of the states, they were blue states and blue state managed. And by the way, we would recommend they open up their states. I think it's very important that they open up their states.
All right, I'm back. I see this is going to be one of those days. Please bear with me. We had a great show the other day. If you want to see a good show, see the one from Tuesday. Went flawless, no problems. But anyway, we'll make the most of what we have to work with today. Let's see. Up next, we were going to. This is the president on April 13th. This is to show you the inconsistency of this president. So this was after, remember, he addressed the nation about the threat of COVID-19 on March 11th. But on April 13th, he was still talking to Bob Woodward. He made the following comments. So wow, they switched back and forth. So this is what Trump was telling the masses as he was telling Woodward something completely different on April 13th, 2020.
Our country open. We want to return to normal life. Our country's going to be open. We got to get our country open.
Bob, it's so easily transmissible, you wouldn't even believe it. This thing is a killer if it gets you. If you're the wrong person, you don't have a chance.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I guess I'm just going to go strictly from YouTube in the future, because apparently Twitter is not working right either. I don't know. I guess we depend too much on this stuff.
No, that was good. That was the full 15 seconds.
Oh, it did play uninterrupted. But anyway, so he's saying one thing. He knows how transmissible this is, and yet he downplays it to the public again. But the only thing scarier than that is that there are people out there on his side. Of course, Tucker Carlson is by far the biggest guy who talks this crazy talk. But this guy, Charlie Kirk, he may be at most he may be 28 years old, 29. And he is talking crazy talk. Basically, if Joe Biden wins, it's the end of the world as you know it. And these are Charlie Kirk's comments about how the libs are coming to get you if Joe Biden wins.
To such great lengths to show us that they don't care about the facts of a case to indict somebody. It is actually immaterial to them. They will go to such great lengths Manafort, Stone, Flynn, Bannon, D'Souza. And you might say, well, Charlie, all those people are bad guys. I'm not getting into that. I'm not making a comment on that. I'm not going to say they're bad people. I'm not. I'm saying that if you weigh up that group of people versus the average Democrat group of people, typically a prosecutor would say, I'm only going to prosecute if the crimes reach a certain threshold because I don't want to over-politicize the DA's office. That's typically how things worked for the last couple decades. I'm not defending that, by the way. I'm not. I am saying when the mountain of crimes up against people in Trump's orbit is getting up into dozens and dozens of dozens, and not crimes, indictments. And when you look at Hillary Clinton and her band and her cartel of very shady actors where we have evidence that they violated the law, and Peter Strzok and Lisa Page, and we don't know what Durham's going to do. We don't. But this article right here shows exactly what they're going to do. And for those of you that say, well, it really doesn't impact me, I don't care if Trump goes to prison. Well, first of all, you absolutely should care. Because if we lose, they're going to come after the churches, they're going to come after the organizations, they're going to come after the people, they're going to come after the social media accounts, they're going to come after the bank accounts, they're going to come after every single person that played any form and role into trying to defend President Trump. But social media banning, following in the streets, targeting in every form and fashion. If we lose, if the president loses, they will come for us all. They will come for your children. They will come for your schools. They will come in every fashion. And they won't stop. This idea that the left is all of a sudden going to embrace the Christian ethic of forgiveness and moving on is so short-sighted. You read this article, I have it on charliekirk.com. It shows in such vivid detail that they are going to do whatever it takes to try to personally and intergenerationally destroy Donald Trump. That's how much they hate him. They hate him not because of his tweets, not because of his style. They hate him because now Gorsuch and Kavanaugh are on the Supreme Court. They hate him because the embassy is now in Jerusalem. They hate him because illegal immigration is going down. They hate him because middle-class wages are going up. They hate him because China is now being held accountable. They hate him because we're out of TPP. NAFTA has been renegotiated. They hate him because all of their schemes have been put in jeopardy. All of the plans of the ruling class were obliterated by a man that they don't think should even be invited to a cocktail party, let alone become president of the United States.
Okay, so there you got his twist. Well, a couple of things on what he was saying, and I say it time and time again. He said he's not going to call these people bad guys. Some of the names he mentioned, Paul Manafort was found guilty of basically money laundering over in Ukraine. He always had a lot of business over there. So it's not like people are just making these crimes up. Here's my problem with Kirk's whole thing. So basically what he's saying is those mean old prosecutors are picking on Trump people, but they're letting Hillary go. And I would say to Charlie Kirk, last time I checked, Charlie, the Attorney General of the United States is a Republican, picked by the President of the United States. What I would say to you also is if there are any crimes against Hillary Clinton, any of the Obama folks, where are the indictments? Where are the charges? In the case of Dinesh D'Souza, what D'Souza was doing was he was in violation and he got a pardon from this president who hands out pardons like candy. But what he did was there's a limit as to how much you can give in an election campaign. So he got two friends to give in his place, straw donors, as they say. The Obama administration did go after him. Maybe they didn't like him because he was certainly a staunch critic of the Obama administration, but the fact was those weren't made up charges. Dinesh D'Souza broke the law. Paul Manafort broke the law. Roger Stone broke the law. Even though his sentence has been commuted, Roger Stone is still a 7-time convicted felon. So to say, oh, they're being so mean to these Republicans and okay, if there's anything there against the Democrats, you guys have been in charge for 4 years. Why haven't you gone after them? I hear all the talk, and he did reference this investigation that's going on. There is an investigation going on. One of the investigators actually quit because she feels this thing is being pushed by the Attorney General. They want to get some kind of, they want to get something against Obama, Biden, Hillary something before Election Day. And this prosecutor, female prosecutor, she walked away from it. I personally don't think they're going to find anything. I don't think they're going to find anything. When you have, let's remember also that the president's own attorney general also said when the president was talking about they were going to go after Obama and Biden, he said, I see nothing to go after them for. This is Barr talking. And Trump said, well, I disagree with him. Well, you can disagree all day, but I'm going with the attorney general, sir. And so, you know, these guys get sour grapes because their people are in trouble, but maybe they shouldn't engage in nefarious activity and they wouldn't be in trouble. The fact of the matter is, as it stands, there are 6 or 7 people in Donald Trump's orbit, or people who have previously been in Donald Trump's orbit, including, by the way, his attorney of over 12 years, Michael Cohen, who's just technically he's out because of health reasons. They were trying to keep him safe from COVID-19, but he's still technically paying for his crimes. And when you hear him talk about how they're going to go after us, I think that might be a little paranoid. There are some people on the far left that would love to exact a little retribution from some of the people who have made it difficult for liberals in the last few years, including during the Obama administration. But I don't think you're going to see what he's talking about. If you listen to him talk, you think they're going to be dragging conservatives behind cars or something. I don't see that coming. But what I do see, there may be a reckoning. And as far as the president himself brought it up multiple times, let's remember in the Michael Cohen case, that was a campaign corruption case. Why was he in prison? Because he paid Stormy Daniels and the former playmate a significant amount of money to go away because Trump was worried about it. Let's remember that in Cohen's indictment, there was an unindicted co-conspirator. They didn't mention the name, but he was called individual number 1. Well, spoiler alert, individual number 1 is a guy named Donald J. Trump. And if Donald J. Trump is not reelected, the Southern District of New York, that's a federal court, can go after him for those charges. So Charlie can whine all day about how badly he feels conservatives are being treated, but maybe they wouldn't be indicted and charged and arrested. And let's not forget Steve Bannon, his future is hanging in the balance. But not a single Democrat. You can hate them all day, Charlie, but there are no indictments against Barack Obama, Joe Biden, even Hunter Biden for that matter. Because our government and the government of Ukraine said Hunter Biden did nothing. There's no there. Was it a questionable job? $15,000 a month and you don't even know what you're doing, but you just happen to be the vice president's son? I think that is certainly, he played on his father's name. That was unethical behavior. Illegal? No. But the other people that Charlie Kirk mentioned, they absolutely committed crimes and they absolutely deserve to be charged. So there you have that. But let's try to leave on an uplifting note, if it will play. It's been a while, but let's take a look at Randy Rainbow. And he's saying he will not vote for Trump.
Just to be clear, we are taping this. We are back, Mr. President. How are you?
I'm the football guy.
Oh, good. Sir, the election is around the corner, and it seems your campaign strategy has been to ramp up your divisiveness and bigotry, spread misinformation, even disparage the military.
The news is so fake.
Listen, I get it. I was once an aspiring comedian just like you. I posted offensive things for shock value.
It was a disaster.
Calm down. The difference was I was doing it satirically, using irony and exaggeration to point out absurdity, saying and doing things through a persona that I wasn't actually saying and doing. Kind of like how I'm not really at the White House with you right now, see? It's just a green screen. But I changed my act when I realized there were actually awful things actually being said and done by actually awful people, just like you.
Look.
And once I had an actual platform, I vowed I would try my best to use it only for good. Aren't I great?
You know, I'm not sure.
And with November so close, there is one more vow I've taken. Would you like to hear it?
I don't have time.
Raise your tiny hand and repeat after me. I won't vote Trump. I won't vote Trump. No, there's not a chance in hell. No, there's not a chance in hell. I will try to make a difference. I will try to make a difference. 'Cause this isn't going well. 'Cause this isn't going well. So don't waste your bad breath on me. I'd sooner cast my vote for Cardi B. I'll never vote Trump, never vote Trump, never vote Trump. Not me. Come on, sing. I won't vote Trump. I won't vote Trump. I will jump through any hoop. I will jump through any hoop. And if someone tries to make me, I will throw a can of soup. I will throw a can of soup. If there's a chance that I could get this bloated Cheeto off my TV set, I'll never vote Trump, never vote Trump, never vote Trump. Not me. Not I. Girl, please. But it'll make the country great. Pence will take you on a date. No, thank you. What if they manipulate and make you not feel so inclined? I've made up my mind. I won't vote Trump. I won't vote Trump. To the polls is where I'll drive. To the polls is where I'll drive. If I'm 18 years or over. If I'm 18 years or over. 'Cause I'm over 45. 'Cause I'm over 45. So sorry I've offended you. But when it comes to voting, I work blue. I'll never vote Trump. Never vote Trump. Never vote Trump. Not me. Everybody. Not me. I won't vote Trump. I won't vote Trump. I don't want another four. I don't want another four. And if someone steals my mailbox, I will build 100 more. I will build 100 more. I won't vote Trump. I won't vote Trump. I will vote without delay. I will vote without delay. I will do what's necessary. I will do what's necessary. Just to make you go away. And though I've made some past mistakes, there's one I won't, no matter what it takes.
The best is yet to come.
I'll never vote Trump, never vote Trump, never vote Trump. Not me, not me, not me, not me. No girl. Not me. Not me.
The news is so fake.
Girl, tell me about it.
Okay, I guess that's a good way to go out. Sorry about the hiccups today, but hopefully Tuesday is another day and we'll get everything right. I want to thank Mario for trying to save the show. And like I said, I don't know what's going on the internet right now, but you know, there's so many of us who aren't working right now and that kind of thing, and maybe things just overloaded, Zoom calls and all this stuff going on. But hopefully we'll have a clearer information highway on Tuesday when you join us. Please stay safe out there. I'm Mo Ray saying, as I always do, keep your eyes on the prize.